What's up, everyone? You're back in the loop, a.k.a. in a room with three brothers chopping up sports and other stuff. Nothing less, nothing more. I want to start by just bringing something up about last week for the sake of transparency. I was up Friday morning ready to go. Exercised, iced latte, walked the dog. You two got into the sauce the night before a little bit.
Sure we did.
Zach caught a little bit of a bad one.
Yes, he did.
You caught a little bug.
I was ready to go.
I knew you would say that.
I was ready. I was in bed, and I was waiting for the phone call. Give me the green light. I'm ready to go.
You were too hungover to podcast.
And then you two talked. I get a call, podcast off. I'm like, okay, back to bed.
Back to Connecticut. You went.
Right.
So you think you're getting off just because you say you would have done it?
Yeah, like I feel like if I was like, I'm not doing it because of this, then this would make more sense. But that never happened. You know? I thought we were just going to do it. Everything was going to be great. I was going to give a Willis Reed-like performance.
I got a question. When did I feel like I'm the homebody now of the trio. And I used to be a pretty salty individual back in the day.
I heard junior year of college you were one of the saltiest kids at the entire university.
I hit my stride junior year. But now you two have just far surpassed me.
That's because you work these night shifts.
I've never been the most conservative of individuals.
You two are animals now.
Yeah, hey, what are you going to do, man? Somebody's got to do it in this family.
So at least we're back in the room. And something pretty substantial happened in the meantime. We were introduced to Johnny Flip the Bird, Johnny Middle Finger, now Johnny Ride the Pine, Johnny Wear the Hat, whatever you want to call him. Z-Loop, what do you got on the middle finger?
I was pretty surprised. That's the one thing I feel like he can't do. He clearly thought about it when he was doing it. Like, this is going to get me in trouble.
How premeditated do you think it was?
No, I'm not saying it was premeditated, but he definitely, like, during the process, definitely wasn't like, oh, no, afterwards, and was like, that was bad. He definitely was like, I'm doing this either way. I don't care. I'm that upset.
Yeah.
I did see a Vine where the PR guy comes up to him and, like, he clearly is like, yeah, they caught that on camera. The idea that you wouldn't think that, like, you were going to get nailed for that on Monday Night Football, like, there's a million cameras. You cannot do that, period. Like, the cameras are on you the whole game. Like, you just can't do it.
That pretty much goes for any televised sporting event at this point. You're not sneaking anything by anyone.
Ask Luis Suarez, you know?
Exactly.
But I think that at the end of the day, I don't think that any of that stuff is what lost him the job. I don't think they ever were going to give it to him. I think he was going to have to blow Hoyer out of the water in order to, like, get it. Because Hoyer was awful in that game.
He was much worse than Manziel.
I mean,
Manziel
they were
both
well. Really bad.
They were both
that
really
was
bad.
One of the worst. And, like, I was excited to watch it, and that was brutal, that preseason game. The Redskins were bad. The Browns were bad. It was
that
tough.
was a terrible game.
And as far as excitement level goes, going into a preseason game, it doesn't get much better.
Well, it actually
than that
had
game.
some intrigue because you were thinking, like, okay, somebody's going to win and lose the job. When the other thing I don't understand, and you know, I'm going to ask you guys because I trust you both, why would you finish the quarterback decision, like, at this point? Like, clearly no one separated themselves. If this was truly a competition, wouldn't they have been like, all right, we need another week because that was so bad?
I agree. Maybe it was just convenient.
I think what happened was that they just wanted it. They were done with the competition. You know, I feel like at a certain point you got to just pick your guy, and then at least
I think
whole team knows what's happening.
To me, it seemed like it had a lot to do with public relations. They're like, this is the deadline. Now you guys can stop asking. Like, we're moving forward with Hoyer. And they're going to play, the first three games? They play the Ravens, they play the Steelers, and they play the Saints. And, I mean, come on. He's going to start after the bye week, right?
100%.
They're going to lose. This is a bad team. That's the other thing about this.
Yeah, that's why I don't get it. I feel like they should have just given him the job from day one. You traded up in the draft to get him, used a first-round pick. That's what you do with first-round picks nowadays. You start them over a guy like Brian Hoyer.
There is a piece of this, though, and I talked about this, I think, the last time we discussed Manziel, where they go 0-3, and then they start him, and it's a lot less pressure on him because it's like now we've set the expectations for what this team is. We know we're not going to make the playoffs, kind of. And if that's what truly happens, then you get the fans excited in Week 5 instead of Week 1. You just kind of change the conversation.
I think that's true to a certain point. But with him, like, when he's starting, there's going to be more pressure on him than any quarterback we've seen in a long time, no matter what.
I'm just bummed out that he's not going to start Week 1 because I would be excited to watch it.
It'd be great. It's the first question that every coach gets asked in every preseason press conference. So it's got to get annoying after a while, and if you're pretty sure about what direction you're going to go in, it's probably better to just get it out of the way. I agree.
I also wanted to bring up the press conference after. The Manziel press conference, and I feel bad for him during those things. It's clear that every time somebody asks him a question, they're trying to get...
He threw up the middle finger in a game, though.
No, I know, but every time he gets asked a question, even before that, it's like, I feel like he's trying to get trapped into saying, like, one line that they can use. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, like, they were like, Johnny, what was negative about you giving the middle finger? Like, what is he supposed to say to that?
Yeah, it's definitely a tough spot. They also always want to ask about it. They want to be like, so now that you're the backup, do you regret going to Vegas? It's like, no. And that's what he keeps saying, but it is going to be interesting because there are no quarterbacks in the NFL. There are no great quarterbacks in the NFL who have not committed themselves to like the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady mold. And watching Hard Knocks, I don't know, have you guys seen Hard Knocks?
Yeah. Don't love it.
Matt Ryan is a little bit weird. I mean,
no kidding.
Right? And he like wants to be in the film room, wants to hang with the receivers, knows everything about the routes. And part of me is like, that's kind of what you want, right?
Andrew Luck.
Andrew Luck's the same way.
Yeah.
Guy's got a flip phone, which, by the way, like, stop with the flip phone.
When I hear Andrew Luck talk about playing quarterback, I'm just like, wow, this guy's he's going to be great.
So what I'm saying is, and what I'm asking the two of you is, can it work the other way?
We'll see. I mean, he would be the first in a while to do it. You're right. I mean, Manning and Brady and Luck and Breeze and Matty Ryan.
I heard Hasselbeck the other day talking about Luck, and he was like, this dude doesn't go out. He doesn't like stuff. He's got a flip phone, and all he likes to do is football.
Yeah, first one in, last one to leave.
And I know that that's such a cliche, but when you're playing that position in this league with the amount of attention it gets, maybe that is what you need to be.
I just don't. Maybe he'll develop that work ethic. Because if we know it, that it's such an advantage to be that kind of film room junkie. Like, Peyton works harder than anybody else. Why? Why aren't you just putting in as much time as him? You know?
I understand what you're saying. I think it's going to be a very interesting exercise because I don't think, I mean, even when he didn't get the job yesterday, he said something to the extent of, I'm going to keep living my life. That's always what he comes back to. And it's like, okay, I'm fine with that, but maybe that isn't, I don't know. I don't want to be like old get off my lawn guy, but.
Now, Zach, Rodgers doesn't really have the QB nerd image.
Right, but he still is a nerd when it comes to being a quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
I think Rodgers probably, out of all those guys, probably has the most like vibrant social life. That's the way it appears to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stud.
And the most creative on-the-field game as well.
But look, when you're Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to Vegas every Monday and still competed and played the way he did, no one would care. The point is that Manziel does what he does, and then he's clearly struggled during the preseason. Now, I don't know if that's going to last, but
I mean, he has said publicly that he didn't get famous at Texas A&M for the way he behaved off the field. He got famous because of what he did on Saturdays at College Station. Fine. But you're in the NFL now, and if you want to be famous for being a quarterback, you better go out and play well.
One thing I do wonder is we saw what the Redskins did with RG3 2 years ago, his rookie season. They really brought what he did at Baylor and made it their offense, or at least a big part of it. Manziel has run nothing but spread, nothing but no huddle, nothing but up-tempo. Why wouldn't you, if you're the Browns, try to embrace that instead of – does that make sense?
Yeah, tailor their game to what
at least a little bit.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem with this whole quarterback.
Because it's Brian Hoare's football team,
yeah,
Chris.
He's trying to adapt to Brian Hoare's offense.
I wouldn't be surprised if they use that bye week to install some spread elements.
That's
and
why
go more up-tempo in the 2 weeks they have off.
First-round pick. Let's do that from day one and see what happens.
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm watching that game, and I'm just like, we know what he's great at. And maybe, of course, he's going to have to learn to go under center. He's going to have to learn how to play in that way. But he's an up-tempo quarterback. They should run stuff that he's comfortable with.
He's living in Brian Hoare's world right now.
You guaranteed Brian Hoyer wasn't going to the Hall of Fame on the last podcast.
That's true. Do you think, taking a wider lens look at the city of Cleveland, the Browns draft Manziel, and everyone is obviously fired up about it and putting a lot of their sports fan stock into it, but then they get LeBron, or you're feeling a little more comfortable. You're kind of just seeing what happens.
Good.
You know, you're fine.
You mean if you live in Cleveland?
Yeah.
But this is such a national storyline. Manziel, you know what I mean?
No, I agree. I'm just talking if you're, Joe Browns fan hitting the dog pound every Sunday,
I think if you're a Browns fan, you probably realize this is not a playoff team.
But you were fired up about Hoyer, huh?
Yeah, I mean, God, And look, and when Hoyer is going to go out there, and let's be honest, if he looks anything like he has in the preseason, it's going to be tough. And then it's just like you're going to start hearing it right away. Okay, is Manziel going to start week 2?
It's a tough spot for Hoyer.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a reason why Brian Hoyer hasn't been a starting quarterback. He's been in the league for 5 years. So, I don't know.
Do you think he's getting Manziel? Do you think he's getting more attention than Tebow got at the height of Tebow mania?
No.
Tebow was bigger.
When Tebow was winning games?
Yeah. Well, I
No.
guess when you get into the playoffs and that playoff win and everything.
When Tebow went through that 5-game stretch where they would win a close game every single week in and week out.
It was
no,
much
I don't think that
must-see TV.
I don't think that Barack Obama got more attention when he ran for president in 2000. I mean, he broke when they threw the touchdown against the Steelers. Twitter went down. So, no.
It's cool to look at. Just complete opposite end of the spectrum. They're polar opposites. They're both lightning rods.
Right.
Polar opposites.
In the red states, man, Tebow was
Someone did tweet out, I saw a picture, the entire ESPN sidebar of topics was Manziel related. Just different.
there's not much to, also there's not much to discuss.
Now, I mean, hey, look at us.
Yeah, we're chopping up the Manziel thing.
Johnny Football, we're chopping you up.
Hey, Cleveland.
All right, enough Johnny Football. Let's move on to some over-unders. And I don't even know who picked these over-unders.
I did. I picked the over-unders.
It's a random assortment.
We talking season win totals?
Season win totals, NFL. I got the Giants, the Jets, 2 New York teams. Here we are, New York. Packers, Z-Loops team. The Philadelphia Eagles, which I think is a really interesting team this year, and also the Bears. So good teams. I mean, I think that these are fun over-unders. I mean, the numbers kind of reflect whether or not these will be playoff teams this season. So
you're fired up about these.
Yeah, you're all over
wow.
it. You're all over it.
Good to
Zach's the gambler in the family.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Zach's a gambler, but I'm the guy who puts together the rundown.
That's true.
So Giants are at 8, which is really tough.
It's a 9-win football team.
Preseason's been brutal.
Who do we play in the AFC?
What'd you say?
Who do we play in the AFC?
The Giants. They play the AFC South, I believe, but they play the NFC West also.
Yes.
So they got to play the Seahawks and the 49ers and all those guys.
It's a gauntlet, as it always is.
They always have a tough schedule. I mean, they're prime time. They're on. I think they're at night 5 times this season. But I mean, I watched the first, and it's hard to put a lot of stock in preseason football, but it's like this is the first time Eli's ever played under an offensive coordinator not named Kevin Gilbride. They're obviously trying to do some more West Coast stuff, and it just doesn't look like it's clicked yet. I mean, who knows? But
I feel like every time I've turned on a preseason game, they're just getting worked.
They're getting waxed all over the
They're getting their first teams going 3 and out on regularly. I think Andre Williams has looked okay. Jennings has looked okay.
I saw Andre Williams and Rex Ryan getting chippy with each other.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they were just chopping it up aggressively.
Andre said that the Giants were the New York's team, and Rex said last time he saw Andre, he's getting pounded by Clemson.
Well,
taking a little shot at the Eagles there.
Good chirp.
Why is Rex responding to something that Andre Williams?
Okay, it's 8 on the dot.
Yeah, it's 8 on the number.
I'm going push.
Push.
Over.
Under. Worried about this team. Really worried about this team. There's no one that scares you on this team. I think as a Giants fan, we're putting a lot into the Odell Beckham Jr. thing because if he's not a big time weapon on offense, teams are going to key in on Cruz. Nix is gone.
I'm not sure about Cruz as a number 1 either. I feel like he's a guy who needs a compliment.
I think every receiver needs a compliment. You need to have someone else out there who can make plays. I'd like Ruben Randall, but I think Odell Beckham was a first-round pick. He was a dynamic player in college at LSU. They need him to be a dynamic player.
And he's been banged up too, right?
Yeah, he hasn't played yet.
Don't you think the Giants are always at their best when the expectations are super low, though? He couldn't be coming off a worse year.
Look, if the Giants, though, this season don't make the playoffs, I think Coughlin's I think it's time for him to go. Not get rid of the guy. But, I mean, look.
You're getting rid of him.
It's been this run. The Giants have not won a single playoff game in the Coughlin-Manning era outside of their Super Bowl titles.
Two Super Bowls.
It's been an unbelievably strange run. but it's been really inconsistent. And if it's another year without a playoff berth, I think it's time to move on.
All right, we got over, under, push. What's next?
Jets, 7.
I love the over. Jets are at least an 8-win team, I think.
Putting a lot of faith in your boy Gino.
Yeah, I don't know.
Under, 6 and 10.
Yeah, I'm going under also. I think that.
But I'm not touching it, and I like taking the action. You know that.
Yeah, you love having a little skin in the game.
Their defense is always good.
I think
Rex
the defense
is a
will be
genius
solid.
on defense. There's no dispute.
There's another guy. If they don't make the playoffs, I think he's done.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
I think he's going to be a D coordinator.
But they have some actual tools on offense now, and you haven't been able to say that in a few years. The defense is gonna be solid.
I hope Chris Johnson is good and
So
exciting.
you think Eric Decker is like a guy who comes in and like as a dynamic threat?
Yeah,
Decker had
he's-
a monster year last year. I know he played for the Broncos, but he had a monster year. Like 1,300 yards and
first
I
team
mean, look,
all
at the end of the
gorgeous.
day,
I mean,
at the end of the day, the Jets' fate rests with how much Geno Smith develops between last year and this year.
I'd play Vic.
If he's the same guy that he was, honestly, if they played Vic, I'd feel more comfortable taking the over
Me too.
than with Geno.
So we went under, over.
Now we got
Not a lot of consensus
the
here.
boys from Green Bay.
Ooh,
10
are
and
we
a
keeping
half.
track of this, John? Are you writing these down? I want bragging rights when I nail all these. Okay.
10.5,
10 and a half for the Packers.
over.
Obviously.
What a surprise.
12 and 4.
I was watching preseason. Zach was watching the Packers preseason game the other day, and it's just like he just watches them. He's like, "How do you stop this team?" I mean, no one like if you watch
It
a
was
Packers game
uncomfortable.
with Zach, they're going 16-0. They're going to win all their playoff games by a ton, and no one's going to
No,
challenge them
I get nervous in the playoffs because we always have to play the 49ers.
or the Giants.
I don't know, Zach.
Oh, the Giants they're past.
You start out with 3 out of 4 on the road.
Give me Seattle.
Little rocky start. 5
What's
of their
the
first
three?
8 on the road.
What, Detroit?
Let me see. I don't have it up.
I mean,
yeah, I
they
do.
start the season in Seattle, which is such an awesome game, but
Yeah.
you just do not go in there and get
You're
it done.
at
Well, we did,
Seattle,
and they
loss. At
we-
Seattle, loss. Home against the Jets, win. At Lions, win. At Bears, loss. So you start 2-2.
Yeah, but we're going to beat the Bears.
Are you?
You guys haven't chosen, have you?
I'm actually going to go over here.
Beautiful.
I mean, somebody's got to win games.
They're playing the AFC East. That's 3-1 at worst for the Packers.
This contrarian's taking the under.
You're going to bite your tongue.
Yeah, I think it's the under there, C-Loop.
Next one's really interesting to me. Eagles 9.
Zach?
Over.
I think it's the over, too. I think they're the NFC East champs.
I do too. I think that every team wants a coach like Chip Kelly.
Every team wants Chip Kelly.
I'm sitting there like, why didn't the Giants go for Chip Kelly like 2 years ago? He's clearly a genius offensively. I mean, Nick Foles. I think Nick Foles has another great year. Shady McCoy. I think they'll replace Deshaun Jackson. I don't think they need him. Clearly,
I'm nervous. I just get nervous when there's one guy like McCoy who he's it for them. If they don't have him, they're done.
they just traded for Kenyon Barner, another Oregon running back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure that Shady McCoy means that they're done. I think that they could plug someone else in and make plays.
I don't know.
Kelly is really, I think, gonna change the game. And I was kind of a skeptic last year, but you don't want to go up against that team. They're very tough.
Sure.
He practices with Belichick, too.
You know that he's a bachelor and just
Yeah.
no kids.
He was out with you guys last Thursday.
And I mean, he's just talk about the prototypical
Good
guy.
body.
Just-
I mean,
yeah, great face.
Were we over there across the board?
Huh? Yeah, we're all over on
Wow.
the Eagles.
it's got to be out of all those picks, I feel most comfortable with the Bears. They're
Bears,
such a good football team.
8.5.
The Bears?
Yeah.
They have a basketball
over.
team on offense.
Yeah, like Cutler. I mean, Cutler's been injury prone. I think that
Right.
8.5 probably reflects the fact that the last 2 seasons Cutler's missed time, and if he does, then that team it changes who they are. And they also lost Luke McCown, who was phenomenal for them as a backup last year.
I think over for sure. I think if they get a full year of Cutler, which for a quarterback, I don't know, I err on the side of them being healthy, even though he's had concerns.
Cutler's the kind of guy though who gets out in traffic and wants to shoulder people, which I love, but it's not wise.
It's not wise.
They're going to be fun to watch.
Alshon and Brandon
They're so
Marshall.
fun to
They
watch.
picked up Santonio Holmes. I think he still probably has a little left in the tank.
And then that's a very good team. I mean, their defense last year was the only problem. I mean, their defense
was horrible,
completely banged up. Everyone was hurt.
Added Jared Allen, lost Peppers.
Jared Allen.
I think Treshman is a really good coach.
Me too.
People call him the quarterback whisperer, which I don't know what that means, but clearly had an effect on Cutler. I mean, made Luke McCown a viable candidate to get a starting gig after he was a high school coach. So
we got a potential Hall of Famer in Luke McCown.
Well,
yeah,
at 35, I don't know.
I like him. He's a weirdo, you know.
Who, Treshman?
Yeah,
he's
an oddball.
But clearly, Cutler has been the kind of guy who needs someone who knows what he's doing with the quarterback. Because the guy's got all the talent.
What's your pick? Over. Okay.
Over.
Is that it? We got anything else?
Those are the 5 that we have. So,
Gorgeous John, you wrote all those down? You can write yours down, too, next to him.
We'll be doing more of these. Are you just going to pick another random crowd next week, C-Loop?
No, I won't.
Once the season starts, I think we can do a nice little, 3 lines of the week that we like, something like that.
You just talk about the swings of your gambling.
Yeah.
The highs, the lows.
I think I'm going to get super hot come September.
I don't know. How'd you do last year?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right. That's fair enough. Should we do a little college football? I want to get into this Notre Dame thing a little bit. Mostly because I despise Notre Dame. And the worst thing to happen to Notre Dame in the last month or so has been these new unis that are absolutely disgusting. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but they're actually putting ND.
The Under Armour stuff?
They're putting ND on their helmets.
I didn't know you felt so strongly about this.
It's a disgrace.
Wow.
Okay.
I like when you get fired up like this.
I think Notre Dame, like Notre Dame alum and Notre Dame boosters, will let their football team wither and die to preserve their academic standing. Would you agree with that?
No. I don't think that goes for any program. I think Notre Dame wants to believe that, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you go back, like there's been stuff that the Notre Dame and the Notre Dame community has covered up for that football team in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And
they got a sleazy shop going over there.
And I think, it's about protecting the brand name. The problem is it's just hypocritical to try. I think when you're big-time college football, it's very hypocritical to try to do both and to try to be holier than thou on the academic level and also, be an obsessive program the way Notre Dame is.
It's kind of similar to our school, Boston College.
But we're squeaky clean.
Yes, we are.
We're the squeakiest
at the end of the day,
school in America.
I don't want to...
Too clean.
Much too clean.
I don't like Notre Dame by any stretch of the imagination, but what we're talking about here, if you read about the scandal, is guys copying like homework. And
Zach, you copying homework?
No, I did
tests. Not. And at the end, can you guys honestly get worked up about that and say that like dudes should be suspended because they're copying homework?
It's disgusting to me.
Appalling.
Well, I don't think the dude should be suspended for copying homework. I think that it happens all the time, and I just think that these players are being made an example of.
It happens all the time, but if you get caught, you get in trouble. That's how it works.
Yeah, so you vacate all your wins for a season,
Who
so you
cares?
suspend these guys moving forward.
I hate the vacating wins. Who cares?
Suspending these players. These are good players. Moving forward, they're being suspended.
And they cheated.
Yes.
And so they're going to get suspended.
All right.
So it's 3 starters, right? I think it's 3 starters, 4 guys. Here's my question. How did they get caught? How did they get caught?
Somebody snitched.
They reportedly turned in papers that weren't written by them.
Yep.
How did they know? Just like, this isn't his
Snitches.
voice. This isn't his voice.
Time to time, though, you throw up just a beautifully well-written paper after you throw up a dog baby paper, and I think people see through that.
You forget to change that name in the upper left-hand corner? Zach, that ever happened to you?
You don't spell
I
check
wouldn't
it?
know.
You got to change things up.
Change the
change
date.
the font.
They're like, this was written in 2006.
This is a big problem for college football because they're going to if I'm Brian Kelly right now, I'm like, you know what, I don't need to deal with this. I'll go coach in the NFL.
I'm surprised he hasn't head for the hills already.
He's been there for, 3 years? 4 years maybe? But these are the kind of things like that you just get so sick of when you're a college coach. You're like, okay, now I have to figure out my depth chart and reorganize this because, and also this is a team that lost Everett Golson, their starting quarterback, for the year last year.
A year ago.
For the same kind of thing. So if you're Kelly, you're like, all right, look, I love being here. It's one of the great programs in America, but this is a headache for me.
Pete Carroll left the flaming building in his rear view.
So did Chip Kelly. the violations weren't as severe as they were at USC, but when you think about what you have to do as an NFL coach versus what you have to do as a college football coach, I mean, it's night and day.
What are the positives? If you're a big-time coach and you have the opportunity to coach at a storied college football program or in the NFL, what are the benefits of it's such a tougher gig? And that goes for big-time college hoops as well. You're recruiting all year long. You win the national championship.
It is a full-time job.
You're on the recruiting trail the next
days a year.
And there's also just this other stuff, like these booster dinners that you have to go to. You're half politician. And in the NFL, it's football, football, football. That's it. That's all anyone cares about. It's free agency. It's the draft. I mean, it's also a full-time job, but it's...
Do you think pressure has anything to do with it?
You mean...
In the
think
NFL?
there's less pressure at the college level?
Yeah.
I think it depends on
in
where
the
you
NFL,
are.
if you go somewhere and you do bad for 2 years, you're gone.
I think if you go to Alabama and you lose, you're done.
I mean,
Ron.
Right, but that's Alabama. I'm saying in the NFL, it's everywhere.
Oh, right, yeah. I think generally speaking, at mid-level college programs, you talk about a place like Boston College, for example. Yeah, the expectations aren't super high. But if you're at a big-time SEC program, if you're at a big-time Pac-12, Big 12 program, I think the pressure is the same.
I think the only argument you can make is the intangibles about college sports. Running down the hill at Death Valley, the tailgating atmosphere, the being king of a college campus.
Yeah, I'm
as
sure
a
some guys just like it more.
Coach. Yeah,
they live for
I
it.
think that also there are guys, Les Miles, Nick Saban, who delegate a lot of their recruiting and just know how to do it. They know how to play the game.
It's the same with Izzo and Krzyzewski and those guys too.
Yeah, does Nick Saban really have to go to your living room?
No, Nick
you get
Saban
a letter
last
from
year
Alabama
said about
and you sign it.
He said about Jameis Winston. He said that's one of the only guys I ever actually went to one of his games to watch him play because he just gets the tape or he has somebody else check it out.
I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more coaching talent. Just book it.
Especially with the success of Carroll, Harbaugh, Kelly.
That's true.
There was a narrative for a while that you couldn't take college football coaching and make it work in the NFL. And clearly that's been thrown out the window.
It's just another thing that makes you think the NCAA is so antiquated and so gone so soon. When is the last time you heard a smart person talk about the NCAA in a positive light?
I know. It's every time anybody wants to talk about it, it's because of the negative things that are happening, which is unfortunate.
Exactly. It's like it's the BCS. You never heard a good word about it. I think eventually it's just these big conferences are going to break off and govern themselves.
In 10 years, people are going to be looking back at the way that the NCAA governed itself and just think that it was shocking. Nobody gets paid.
Shocking.
Yeah.
These kids' parents can't afford to get to games?
Yeah, that's a change that they're making. I mean, they're talking about a $5,000 stipend, but yeah, it just looks like a way of the past. Notre Dame has to sit up there and say we're vacating wins from last year. Nobody cares. They just do that to avoid more of an investigation down the line.
Yeah, NCAA, you're gone. You're not a friend of the podcast. Okay, that's that. All right, we actually have our first guest on the line in the history of In the Loop. Boys.
Wow.
This is big. Kevin Hayes of Dorchester, Massachusetts. Noble and Greeno, Boston College, and now the New York Rangers. Kevo!
What's up, guys?
Congratulations, brother. Big week for you.
Yeah, real big week back here.
First question, did you get more texts when you signed than you do on your birthday?
I think I got more texts, yes. Definitely got more texts than my birthday, for sure.
Did Zach text you?
Did my dad?
Zach.
No, Zach, I texted Zach in the morning, so Zach was up to date.
He keeps me up to date. I'm on a need to know.
Yeah.
So, Kevin leaves the Blackhawks, decides to become an unrestricted free agent. What's it like being an unrestricted free agent?
I mean, it was a tough decision for sure. I mean, the Blackhawks are a great organization. They treated me great. I just felt like there could be better opportunities for me to be successful in the NHL. I think going to unrestricted free agency was the best situation for that.
What did it come down to in the end?
It came down to the best team with the best opportunity for me to succeed potentially in the NHL.
Did nightlife have it? This is Chris Lupica. Did nightlife have anything to do with it? Play into the decision?
No, not at all, actually. Short term and long term, I feel as if the New York Rangers were the best fit for me on the ice.
Are we going to see you, Kev, at MSG in a Ranger game next season?
That's the plan. That's the goal. I've never actually stepped foot in MSG before in my life.
Wow.
I'm hoping the first time I'm there, it's for an NHL game, yeah.
I'll be there.
I hope to be there as well. And
Perfect.
How does Jimmy feel about this? Your brother Jimmy plays for the Panthers. Is he a little jealous?
I wouldn't say jealous. I would say he's really excited for me. He loves it down in Florida. He loved it when he was in Chicago. They have a good situation down there. They're a young, up-and-coming team. So I'd say he's more happy and excited for me than jealous.
Have you looked at the schedule? Is there any Panthers-Rangers matchups we can look forward to? The Hayes brothers going at it?
Yeah, it's kind of on an important day, New Year's, actually.
Wow. Is it in the Garden or is it in Florida?
I think it's at the Garden.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kev, so what are the next steps from here? You go right to camp?
I'm not sure. I'm just back in Boston now. We work out in Foxborough with a bunch of guys. It happened so quickly yesterday. I haven't really talked to a lot of people within the organization. I'm sure I'll hear more today and figure it out. I'm not sure if I'm going to rookie camp or I am. Whatever they want me to do, I have to do. I'll definitely be there at main camp. I could possibly be at rookie camp.
And you've been at camps before. You went to camp for the Blackhawks, right?
Just prospect camp, though, so it's a lot different, actually.
It's not like the big camp?
No, it's not.
What is the biggest... We all went to... Actually, Chris didn't because you're like 30 years old. But Zach and I went to BC with Kev. Kev, how did we not win the national championship last year in hockey?
Union was a really good team. Everyone kind of didn't give it the credit they deserve. They had really good players. It was a pretty good game. Our line probably could have played a little better, to be honest, and they capitalized on their chances. And we thought we were going to win the national championship. We had a pretty good chance, but the team that won it was pretty good too. We got one your senior year.
We got one. We got one.
That was a good year.
Yeah.
Couple bean
you got
pots.
two, actually, right?
We won. Yeah, I was there for 2.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it. You were only there you got there the year after.
Yeah, I won my sophomore year and then won all 4 bean pots with Kreider. Kreider was there both times for those.
Reunited now.
Yeah, so
hopefully in the Big Apple.
Yeah.
Kev, John Manley wants to know, our producer extraordinaire, gorgeous John, if you had to resist the urge to tweet or Instagram a picture of you signing the contract.
No, I would never do that. My mom was trying to do it, actually, to be honest.
And you wouldn't let her?
I wouldn't let her.
I would have loved that pic.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll have her send it to you or something.
Okay, that's fair.
I'd frame that, Kevin. So who were you deciding between at the end with the Rangers?
There was just a list of teams, and between myself, my agent, and my family, we came down with a process of how we wanted to narrow it down, and ultimately we chose the Rangers.
All right. So it was consensus?
Yeah, we figured this was the best spot for me. Like I said, short and long term, and I'm going to try my hardest to prove that that's the case, and hopefully be here for a long time.
I love it. We're fired up. We're fired up to have you in New York City, bud.
Yeah, I'm excited to be there. Can't wait to see Madison Square Garden.
Kevin Hayes in the Big Apple. Hey, man, thanks for calling us. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Couldn't be more excited for you, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that's Kevin Hayes First guest in the history of In the Loop.
Wow. Put that one in the record books, boys.
Let's put it in the record books. Let's do some one more things. You want me to lead it off?
Yeah, let's hear yours.
Is anyone better at their job than Chris Harrison of The Bachelor?
Wow. Yes, and his name's Trent Dilfer. I just watched.
Trent Dilfer does a nice job.
I just watched the Elite 11 documentary. Don't know if you boys have had a chance to check it out. He is basically part Navy SEAL commander, part quarterback guru, part Steve Jobs.
He's breaking down the film.
What he's doing for young people, these kids, just for their lives, is just very notable.
I still got to go with Joe Biden there, but yeah, no, Chris Harrison is very good.
At what he does, right?
Very good.
Have you guys been watching The Bachelor in Paradise?
Yes, of course. I haven't seen the most recent one, though.
It's one of the most diabolical things ever put on TV. If I could go back and do one summer internship, just throw away, I think it'd be a Bachelor cameraman. Like, did they just hang out all day?
How about the girl, episode 1, falling in love with the producer?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Hooking up with the producer.
Hooking up with the producer. And then
Harrison.
the producer jumps out the window to avoid getting caught and breaks his legs. I mean, that doesn't happen.
First reenactment, I think, in Bachelor history.
That's ridiculous. Why would you jump out the window?
I was wondering the same exact thing. Because you fear...
He's like, it didn't look that far.
You fear Harrison's wrath.
I mean, you're probably going to get fired, but...
Not even the wrath, just the disappointment.
What do you think? I don't know. What do you think is going to happen?
You're going to end up ripping movie tickets in Timbuktu if you wrong Chris Harrison like that.
Chris Harrison has an incredible job. I mean,
I think he makes $60K an episode.
He's on camera, for probably 6 or 7 minutes an episode total. But he's just making things happen.
Even when... I don't even think he appeared on the last episode, but his presence was still felt. He signs all the date cards that are all from Chris.
You think he does the date cards? Like he thinks of them?
Hand writes them in calligraphy.
I bet he's a really romantic guy at the end of the day.
They're going to have to make him the Bachelor at one point.
I think he might be married. I don't know.
We're going to have to check that out. John, after that. Zach, one more thing.
Okay, this is something Chris and I have been talking about. I'd like to extend an apology to Rory McIlroy.
That's big time.
Don't do that.
Yep. I've been on his case.
I'm kind of with you.
I've been on his case for a couple years, and I'm flipped. I love the guy.
Is he good?
He's
and I don't
good.
mean at golf, because clearly he is good at golf.
No,
I mean in general.
I'm behind him now. I like him more than Tiger.
He is good.
I'm sick
Talk
of
to me
Tiger.
about what finally was.
Yeah, the ice bucket. He does the ice bucket challenge.
Challenges Meghan Markle.
He challenges Wayne Rooney, George W. Bush, and Meghan Markle, Rachel from Suits.
You love her.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't?
And then not only did he challenge her, he went and he poured it on her. And I'm not saying anything's happening there, but I'm not saying that nothing's happening there.
Something's happening there.
I mean, yeah, who knows? But either way, really well played by Rory.
Extremely well played.
And George W. Bush.
He nailed the ice bucket. I love that you can celebrities are using the ice bucket for their own ends. I saw Jeter nominated Hannah Davis as well.
I still think Charlie Sheen's probably takes the cake for me.
The 10K.
That's not ice and water. That's $10,000.
Vern Troyer put a cookie in his mouth and got
that was amazing. I watched
doused
that
with
like
milk.
4
Les
times
Miles,
last night.
instead of Les Miles challenging other people, he challenged his staff to find a cure for ALS. Just go out there and get it done, boys.
They're like, okay.
All right, Les, whatever you say.
I like that. But the best one is Kingsbury and the Texas Tech team.
Yeah.
If you're a high school football player and you see that video, how are you going anywhere
I love that he
else?
nominated Beyonce.
he just tilts his glasses down. Beyonce.
Yeah, no,
And
he's outrageously perfect.
Those kids would go to a war for him.
I know.
I showed that video to Mom and our little sister, and they were like, this guy's a head coach. Like,
there was a poll on, I forget what blog it was that I was surfing. Who's better looking, Gosling or Kingsbury? I think he got like 45% of
See, the
vote.
thing about Kingsbury is he's so much more well-rounded than Gosling. This guy's got a great offensive mind in addition to being a good-looking guy.
That's true. Great looking, and boy, can he run a spread.
I showed Zach a lot of Kingsbury videos the other night. We were just hanging out.
yeah, but then you go ahead and take a look at the notebook, and you might be singing a different tune.
True. Very true.
As a player, you guys were checking out Kingsbury tape,
Not just like videos on YouTube.
like not necessarily playing,
Like coaching, playing, interviews.
hanging
It
out.
was like 30 minutes. It was a fun night. This is Saturday. I have a weird life. All right, mine. Ready? I'm going to read you guys a quote. It's probably going to be a month or two. I just need to get strong. It's one of the things that when I took that fall, I hadn't done any agility work, so that's part of the deal. That's Tiger Woods talking about playing golf. And if you didn't know who was talking there, you might think that it was Marshawn Lynch talking about recovering from an injury. What's the deal here?
It's weird.
I'm so fed up with Tiger.
He makes playing golf sound like what he's talking about is walking up to a golf ball and striking it like 55 times in an afternoon or 60 times in an afternoon. He can't do it.
It's
Like
looking
when you hear about
closing time
golfers
for
and
Tiger.
injuries, they have like one injury, weird, something weird happens. It's not like their body breaks down.
Freak injury.
I just can't
Right.
think of another guy who consistently has missed time. I mean, I think like Anthony Kim had a wrist injury for a while. Couples has had issues with his back, but just like these guys combined haven't made up for the amount of majors that Tiger's missed, for the amount of time off he has to take. It's too bad.
You're frustrated because you love him.
I was watching videos of him when he was great and when he was right, man, and it was awesome.
There's nothing better.
I'm Team Rory, so.
Rory is playing as good as Tiger. You're both Team Rory. I'm not there yet.
I think Rory's turned a corner and he's making it happen.
I think it's fitting that the last hurdle is Augusta, which
It's going to be great.
famously brought him to his knees in 2011. I think it's the biggest test in golf.
It's unbelievable for golf. Everybody's tuning in to see if Rory's going to win the Masters.
It's going to be a tough last hurdle. I mean, if he plays like he's been playing, he's obviously going to have
I
a
got
good
one
chance.
more thing after the one more thing.
You got two more
So
things.
you had two more things.
Yeah, I have two more. Well, now I only have one. But
Okay.
originally, yes, I did have two.
We'll allow
We
it.
have a fantasy football draft tonight.
Oh, God.
Not even sure, Alex, if you're aware of this. And
You're announcing this live on the air.
not only am I not sure if you're aware of this, but you are on the clock.
I have the first pick.
Yes.
I have the first pick.
So
Are you in this?
Yep.
I have the second pick.
You're ready to go?
Kidding me? Yeah.
You got your draft board. You're in the war room.
9:30
with
tonight.
my co-owner, yeah.
Who
You
am
will
I
be
taking?
You will be clicking that button.
I don't
Who
know.
am I taking?
I don't know. Take like Peyton Manning.
Should I take Johnny Football to troll?
Rich Gannon.
Yeah.
Wow. So I got some preparing to do.
Yes, you do.
What pick do you have?
4.
All right.
Yeah, we'll let you know, America, how it shakes out.
Fantasy results on the next In the Loop. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for hanging with us. We will see you next week. Golden Swag. Take us out.